Is getting a 2.9% interest rate loan in a house that is going to cash flow possible in 2023, 2024? Well, I've got my boy Glen Palepoi with me to tell you how he got this deal, how he's selling it to me, how much money he's making, and ultimately where did this freaking deal come from in the first place? Glenn, how did you get started in real estate, brother?
My brother was doing fix and flips in Hawaii, and so he showed me his check, and so I thought, okay, this is the route I needed to go.
It's like that scene from Wolf of Wall Street. It was like, if you show me a check for $70,000, I'm quitting my job and I'm coming to work for you.
You show me a pay stub for $72,000 on it, I quit my job right now and I work for you. Hey, Paulie, what's up? No, everything's fine. Hey, listen, I quit.
Is that what happened?
That's exactly.
Were you also in a diner and he had a $70,000 check?
No, we're on the phone and I think he was FaceTiming me, and so I saw the account.
And you're like, all right, he ain't lying.
Yeah.
So did you jump into fix and flip, or what did you jump into right away?
I did initially when I joined Jerry Norton, and that's how I found Jerry Norton.
Bro, you and I both have learned so much from Jerry. Love Jerry. Guys, if you want to follow Jerry Norton, go over to his YouTube channel. He's one of my best friends. I love him. So you were doing stuff with him. You ultimately found me because interest rates were going up and it was getting challenging to do traditional deals.
Correct, yes.
So where did this deal come from?
4 years ago, I made connection with a realtor. And so it was honing, and he'll send me like leads, and it never worked out. Picking up my kids, he just called out of the blue and said, hey, I got a lead for you. And so just creating that relationship with them, I think, earned his trust, and he gave me that lead.
A couple of things I have to say about that. A lot of people trying to get into the business will go 4 years. It's like, well, guys, what are you thinking? You trying to get into business short term, or you realize this is a long game? And also what I love about you is that your patience of saying, hey, I never did a deal with this guy, but I just kept the relationship there because you never know what's gonna happen. Think about if every relationship you built with a realtor only resulted in 1 or 2 deals in your entire lifetime, but they made you, how much are you making on this deal?
$5,000.
You're making $5,000. Yeah. Okay, so you make $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 on every time you do a deal with a real estate agent. Those things add up. And it's not like you're talking to this guy every month, right? Sometimes you talk to him once every 4 months or something like that?
Probably once every, yeah, pretty much.
So probably every conversation you had with him made you, at the end of the day, probably $300 or $400 if you really added up.
Correct.
Which is crazy. So think about that, guys. The patience that is required for being a business owner is pretty high. So the agent reaches out to you, hey, I've got a lead. What was the next step?
Oh, I just asked for details, and so he said 2.9. It's okay, 2.9 is really good. That's where the value was at, and so worked down the deal, and then I asked him for a mortgage statement, and so all those details came for the underwriting.
So it sounds like the pain was they were already trying to sell the house. It wasn't moving on the market.
He never listed, actually. He just gave it to me and never listed it.
A pocket listing.
A pocket listing, correct.
A SubTo pocket listing. You didn't have to cold call. You didn't have to go call expired listings or long days on market. You just had a relationship. He sends you a pocket listing of a 2.9% interest rate. How much is the agent going to get paid?
3%, so he's getting $12,000.
$12,000, wow. So the agent, now who's paying the agent? The buyer. Right? I'm the buyer on the deal, so I'm buying the deal, and we'll break down the numbers here in a minute. So agent's getting paid, he's obviously financially incentivized, you get paid a $5,000 fee. The seller, sounds like they probably just didn't have a lot of equity. Is that what was going on?
Correct, yeah. It was low equity, and so they wanted that much equity without getting dinged on, because selling is so expensive. Yeah. I think it was like 10% just to sell it off.
That'd be like $40,000.
Yeah, and so I presented this deal with them on the equity side, how this, whatever will work for them, make it a win-win. And so they agreed to it. I think it was like 10% entry and then 100. I just said, okay, let's do 100. I didn't even know the percentage. I just said, how about 100 a month? We'll just pay interest only, and then the 60 grand in 7-year balloon.
I love it. So the seller actually did have equity. So this is a hybrid deal.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so the seller has equity. So this is another question that gets asked. What do you do with the seller's equity in a SubTo deal? Well, the seller had equity. Glenn structured it where the seller has a second position note on the property. The buyer, will end up making monthly payments on that in 6 years? 7 years, I'll have to pay that all the way off. Now, another question people will ask, how do you pay that off? Oh my gosh, I'm so afraid of buying a deal that has a balloon. Well, in 7 years, how much do you think this house what's the purchase price? Roughly 400 grand?
About 400, yeah.
In 7 years, this house is gonna be worth 600,000 bucks. I'll refinance, I'll sell it, I'll roll the money into another deal, I'll pay it off in cash. You've got multiple different things that you can do. So there's 4 ways you pay the seller off in a transaction like this. on a balloon, especially 7 years. 7 years is a great balloon. I love it. It's great. Did you have any troubles with the seller or the agent overcoming what creative finance was for them, or was it a pretty smooth transaction?
It was smooth only because it was a 4-year relationship. And after I presented SubTo, when I was with Jerry, finding you and watching a bunch of YouTube videos, I said, okay, let's try this SubTo thing. He studied, he's actually a big fan, and I wish he was here. He would.
What's his name?
Harris Mataafa.
Hey, Harris, shout out, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you for the deal. Happy that you're making $12,000 on this. You deserve it. Proud of you, man.
In fact, I think I led the whole deal for him. He just sat on the sidelines.
Did you hire a transaction coordinator for this one? Or did my team?
I started off, and then
You let my team?
Yeah, Molly took over.
So depending on who the buyer is.
Allison.
All right, let's go to next location. I think the only thing I have to do here is probably the carpet. You can tell they already tried to clean it, you know, and it just didn't work out. The paint looks phenomenal. It's almost like they had kids, but they didn't. It's like they didn't put anything on the wall, so I don't have to paint anything. Just like a quick clean. Unfinished basement. Got the nice little toilet drain here. You could have a whole entire bath. This is dope. Question is, what do you do here? Like, do I just rent it out as is, or do I actually finish out the basement? So I'd have to make a determination of what are other people doing in this neighborhood? Do I need to spend money on this or not, right? If you did water softener even, dang, bro, this is dope. Got a newer water softener. It's like brand new everything. This is great. Look, you guys are talking about these 7% rates. We just got a house with like brand new everything at 2.9%. Are you kidding me? This is great. Now, Glenn, here's the next question. I want to cut in here while we're making this video and let you know that we have the Squad Up Summit coming up. Go to squadupsummit.com to join. I'm going to tell you why you should be coming. You should be coming in and learning creative finance, creative deal structure, creative lending, creative paperwork, all the things that creative finance is changing the game with. My community is coming out. SubTo, Astro, Gator, Vina Jetty's community, top tier transaction coordinators are coming out. All the people that do the creative finance paperwork, yeah, you're gonna meet them there. So if you feel like you're an island out there, like maybe you've read this book, right? You've read Wealth Without Cash. You're like, okay, what next? Cool. Well, now you know what you can do. You know what's possible. But who's going to help you get through it? You've got to meet some of my leaders in the community, and the best place to meet them is at the Squad Up Summit, April 23rd, 24th, and 25th in Orlando. I want to see you there. I'll be out there hanging out, some of the best speakers. I'm going to be the main real estate speaker. Jamil's going to be the main real estate speaker. We'll have Vina Jetty and some other people, but it's actually going to have a lot less speakers than most events. While everybody else is trying to cram speakers and give you way too much information, we're going to be building your business live. We're going to be giving you homework right there live. We're going to be guiding you through it, so when you walk away, you've actually built something, you've done something, and you've squad up with powerful leaders in my community that we've been building for years. Go to squadupsummit.com. I can't wait to see you April 23rd, 24th, and 25th in Orlando. Get back to the video. Why would the seller not just rent this out themselves?
Oh, they wanted just to pay out.
They're just like, we don't want to deal with it.
No, it's just too much managing. They didn't want to deal with the landlord headaches that come with it.
Being a landlord's a headache? I never noticed. Okay, so the seller, did you end up talking to the seller or mostly through the agent?
Both, actually. Funny thing is, the seller was a childhood friend of mine, and so that added more to the trust.
But you didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
So when you saw the seller's name, you're like, oh my gosh, I know this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, so trust goes a long way, guys. This is also why people will come to me and they go, Pace, I'm having a hard time getting this deal done. It doesn't even have to be a cash deal or a creative deal. They just go, I'm having a hard time getting the deal done. I go, no, you're having a hard time building rapport and trust. That's it. Because for you, it was like a lay down, right? There was no objections that you really had to deal with. They just wanted the nuances and the red tape figured out by you. But it wasn't like, oh, this sounds illegal or this sounds sketchy or this sounds whatever. You just had immediate rapport and trust.
Yeah. They did have their reserves, wondering if they're going to be protected, only because of, their loan's still under their name. But
what about the agent? Does he know that you're assigning the deal to me?
Correct, yeah. There's no, I think I learned this from Munif. He
Shout out Munif. Let's put Munif's face on the screen. love Munif, great leader in SubTo.
Yeah, I watch all his YouTubes too, and so I think I learned it from him. I pretty much initiated before we did any paperwork. I said, hey, just letting you know I'm an investor, so I'm buying it to make money. Part of that strategy is wholesaling, and so they knew from right off the gate that I was going to either assign it or keep it.
So important. So many people will buy a SubTo deal, not tell the seller that they're intending to wholesale it, And then later on, they're like, what happens if the buyer ends up defaulting? It's like, did you introduce the buyer and the seller together? Do they at least know that they each other exist? And people that do it wrong, do it that way. The people that do it right is the way that you did it, where you say, hey, I'm assigning it. You told the agent who's buying the deal, obviously. The agent's like, oh my gosh, okay, I know that idiot, Pace. Anything that was hard on this deal that we should tell people about?
During the escrow process, the agent did come up to me and said that they were looking to sell it traditionally and they're fine with getting a reduction, but I told them, hey, I had to resolve that by saying, you're getting this much, you're getting this in interest. Once you get the SubTo deal done, I think the other ones will be easier as well. And so I let Harris, the agent, just brew in his mind and said, okay, I'll help you out. And so he did, and then he texted me early the next morning and said, hey, we're back on track again. And so
I love it. When are we closing escrow?
we closed.
Oh, I own it?
You own it.
Right now? Oh, dang.
We closed yesterday.
Bro, congrats. We did a deal together, dude. Yes, that's freaking amazing.
I'm heading to the title company to pick up a assignment check.
Right now?
Well, after this.
Bro, we should swing by there and get a photo with him. Our freaking first of many deals together.
Yeah, it's Jeremy's title company.
Guys, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Give Glenn a follow. He's unbelievable. I'm gonna do 10 deals with him in 2024. Maybe 20 with him in 2025. You guys should be doing deals with him as well. If you have money to invest and you need a place to put it, he might be the guy. If you need somebody to bring leads to for him to work those, he might be the guy. Are you working primarily in Utah?
Utah for now, yes.
Okay, so we'll put Glenn's information down below. We'll put him on the screen. Bro, again, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Shout out to Pace, go giver. I mean, his dream's so big. Yeah, I don't want to cry on TV, but he's a really good person.
What touches my heart is when I see you go up to Kevin Cho and give him a hug, and I see you go give Jeremy Davis a hug, and I'm like, look at this this brotherhood, this family that we've created, and that these people have become friends with each other. I've become friends with them. It's the greatest place ever. I'm just so grateful. So I feel the same way, bro.
Yeah,
Thanks again.
It's not a mentorship, it's a family.
It is
really,
a family.
It has that family.
And the fact that we get to make money together makes it even that much better. So guys, go follow this guy on Instagram, DM him, reach out to him, do deals with him. He's in Utah. We'll see you guys in another episode. Later.